حتى حصل منه على هذه الرسالة التي انتفع بها المسلمون علماؤهم وعوامهم إلى اليوم.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. In the name of Allah, the most gracious, the ever merciful. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. All praise is due to Allah, the Lord, creator and sustainer of all things. وَالصَّلَاةُ وَالسَّلَامُ عَلَى أَشْرَفِ خَلْقِ اللَّهِ أَجْمَعِينَ. And may Allah raise the rank of and grant peace to the most noble and honored of the creation of Allah in its entirety, Nabiyyina Muhammad, our Prophet Muhammad, wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'een, and likewise all of his family and companions. Amma ba'd. As for what follows, then we have this evening a very monumental beginning, insha'Allah ta'ala, the beginning of another journey of knowledge from the oceans of knowledge, from the books that have been authored from the very best of the scholars. We are beginning this evening Al-Aqidah Al-Waasitiyyah, the Waasitiyyah Creed, authored by Shaykh al-Islam Taqiyuddin Ahmad ibn Abdul Halim ibn Abdul Salam Al-Harrani, the one who's known famously as Shaykh al-Islam Ibn Taymiyyah, rahimahullah ta'ala rahmatan wasi'ah. Our goal this evening, as we gather here live in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, at Al-Masjid Al-Awwal, on this night, the last night of the month of Jumada Al-Ula, the 5th month of the year 1441, and as we gather as well with our brothers and sisters in other masjids who are joining in with us live at this time. And so we've tried to make things easy for those who wish to follow along with this course. You have a few ways you can follow along. You can join us at this time right now, 7:15, at this time of the year. That time will change as our Isha prayer time changes. But for now, 7:15, after we pray our Isha prayer, and that's according to Eastern Standard Time. So wherever you are in the world, you're going to have to adjust to that and figure out what that is in your locale. Otherwise, if that's difficult for you, it clashes with a prayer time or work hours or something, then you have the option of getting the audio after the class, which is freely available. A note here, for the first 24 hours to 48 hours, the audio that you will see available in the Waasitiyyah section of our Spreaker channel will be unedited and of a lower quality. It is that which is broadcast through the cell phone. It's a lower quality than the recording that we're making with a better device. This recording made with the better device is high quality, and it will be edited for quality, blank spaces removed, errors, slips of the tongue fixed and corrected and all of that. And then made available 24 to 48 hours after the class. So if you're not following live and you wish to follow within a few hours, next day, along with the class that just happened, you're going to get the lower quality, raw, unedited version. So I'd advise that you wait 48 hours, like Sunday. If you can't attend with us live Friday night, then perhaps gather on Sunday. Insha'Allah ta'ala, by Sunday, the edited high-quality audio will be available. And sometimes, even in those edited versions, there are additional benefits added when needed, things that weren't mentioned in the class. So it's good to review the edited version, which will not be available immediately, but within, let's say, 48 hours, insha'Allah ta'ala. For those of you who study with us on Saturday nights, remotely from other areas, this is how we do our Saturday night class, 130 hadith on manners. That's how we've been doing that since the beginning of that class. It's live. It remains with the audio available unedited, not downloadable, but you can listen. And then when the edited version comes out, it is downloadable and listenable. We ask Allah Ta'ala for His aid and assistance. The book that we have in front of us is an amazing book. It is a book written in a jalsa, a book written in a single sitting by a tremendous scholar of great knowledge and vast areas of study and mastery of various sciences. I'd like to introduce this evening and we're going to use lesson 1's page space, which is on what page? Page 11. Page 11 of your workbooks, you see, introduction to the book, the author, and the topic. So I will introduce to you now the book. The book is called Al-Aqidah Al-Waasitiyyah. And I'll read to you what Sheikh Ubaid ibn Abdullah ibn Sulaiman al-Jabiri, hafidhahullah ta'ala, from the scholars of today. May Allah preserve him.
Allahul Musta'an, Allahul Musta'an, inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. We are all indeed the owned property of Allah, and we are all indeed returning to Him. This is an update 3 years after the original recording to share with you the very sad news of the death of Sheikh Ubaid, rahimahullah ta'ala wa ghafara lahu, wa lil muslimina wal muslimat, on this day, the 28th of Rabi' al-Thani, 1444. The heart is truly saddened and shaken, and the eyes shed tears, but we accept the decree of Allah Ta'ala, and we only say that which is pleasing to Him. May Allah Ta'ala have mercy on our Shaykh, and forgive him, and grant his family, his students, all of those who love him and benefit from him, patience upon the affair of Allah Ta'ala, and steadfastness. And may Allah Ta'ala Al-Jabbar heal the broken hearts. My condolences to you on this tremendous loss. And my request to you as you study this series of classes, insha'Allah Ta'ala, is that when you hear mention of the Shaykh, and you hear me saying, Hafidhahullah, may Allah preserve him, that you supplicate dutifully as one who benefits from the heritage of this scholar, that you say, Rahimahullah, wa ghafara lahu, wa adkhalahu al-firdaus, that you supplicate for the Shaykh when you hear his mention in place of my statements throughout these recordings of may Allah preserve him, that you say, may Allah have mercy on him, may Allah forgive him, may Allah grant him a high rank in al-firdaus, wa jazakum Allahu khayran.
And I'll read to you what Sheikh Ubaid ibn Abdullah ibn Sulaiman al-Jabiri, hafidhahullah ta'ala, from the scholars of today, may Allah preserve him, what he said in his explanation of the creed about the origin of this book, what it is, where it came from. What is Al-Aqidah Al-Waasitiyyah? He said, hafidhahullah ta'ala, from page number 15 of the book called Al-Qutuf al-Janiyah, the explanation of Sheikh Ubaid for Al-Aqidah Al-Waasitiyyah. Now, that which is printed by Dar Al-Mirath Al-Nabawi, the first printing, 1439. On page 15, the author, Sheikh Ubaid al-Jabiri, hafidhahullah ta'ala, said, ذكر شيخ الإسلام رحمه الله. Shaykh al-Islam Ibn Taymiyyah, the author himself, mentioned, أن قاضيا من واsit, a judge from the city of Wasit. Notice the name of the book, Al-Aqidah Al-Waasitiyyah. A judge from the city of Wasit came, من أصحاب الشافعي رحمه الله, from the companions of Al-Shafi'i, literally, meaning from those who follow the madhab of Al-Imam Al-Shafi'i. Notice you don't see the bigotry and the hatred between followers of madhab in this incident here. Yud'a Radiyuddin Al-Wasiti. He was called Radiyuddin Al-Wasiti. This is the figure who came to Ibn Taymiyyah. قَدِمَ عَلَيْهِمْ ذَاهِبًا لِلْحَجِّ. He came to them, to Ibn Taymiyyah and those with him, on his way to Hajj. وَكَانَ الرَّجُلُ مِنْ أَهْلِ الْخَيْرِ وَالدِّينِ. And this man was a man of goodness and a religious man. فَشَكَى مَا النَّاسُ فِيهِ بِتِلْكَ الْبِلَادِ وَفِي دَوْلَةِ التَّتَرِ مِنْ غَلَبَةِ الْجَهْلِ وَالظُّلْمِ. He complained, meaning to Ibn Taymiyyah, about what the people were involved in, what the situation of the people was in his land and under the government of the Tatar, the Mongols, under Genghis Khan, of widespread ignorance and oppression. وَدُرُوسِ الدِّينِ وَالْعِلْمِ. Durus here means not the plural of dars. Durus here is a masdar, which means in daras al-ilm, and the knowledge is slowly fading away, and the deen is fading away, like dars al-thob. The thob as the thobe gets older and older, the material literally frays and begins to fall apart. So the deen with some people can be like that when there is neglect and disobedience. In darasa, it wipes away or it slowly fades away. So the deen and knowledge has been fading away. قال وسألني أن أكتب له عقيدة تكون عمدة له ولأهل بيته. So this man then came and asked for me, Ibn Taymiyyah, to write for him a creed that he could use as a pillar to rely on, something solid in a time of fitna and a time of difficulty, for him and the people of his household. Look at the diligence of a man concerned for himself and his family. قال فاستعفيت من ذلك. So I thought that I should not do that. I felt shy to do that. Why? وقلت, I said, قد كتب الناس عقائد متعددة. People have already written a number of books in creed. فخذ بعض عقائد أئمة السنة. So just go and take some of the texts in Aqidah that have been written by the Imams of the Sunnah. فألح في السؤال. And so the man persisted and insisted in getting this from Ibn Taymiyyah directly. وقال ما أحب إلا عقيدة تكتبها أنت. I'm not going to be happy except with a creed that you write, a text in creed that you would write. فكتبت له هذه العقيدة وأنا قاعد بعد العصر. So I wrote this creed for him while I was sitting after Asr. The book we are studying, the 100 lessons that we're taking, when you flip through in your workbook and you see lesson 1, 2, 3, all the way to 100, these lessons that we're going to study in most likely about 2.5 years, inshaAllah. He wrote these lines in a sitting after Asr. وَقَدْ انْتَشَرَتْ بِهَا نُسَخٌ كَثِيرَةٌ. And he noted that, Ibn Taymiyyah himself said, and many copies of this had spread. He wrote it originally, what? For a man and his family, to study with his family. And he noticed that many copies of it had spread. في مصر, in Egypt, والعراق, and in Iraq, and وغيرهما, and other lands. And this is something that he actually mentioned himself, and it's collected in his Majmu' al-Fatawa, in his larger compilation of Fatawa. And the reference is volume 3, page 164. And this is the story from the words of the author himself about how this text in creed came about. So Shaykh Ubaid then says, فَإِذَا سُمِّيَتَ الْعَقِيدَةَ الْوَاسِطِيَّةِ. So then it's named the Waasitiyyah creed, the creed that has something to do with the city of Wasit. لِأَنَّ السَّائِلَ مِنْ وَاسِطٍ وَقَاضِيهَا. Because the person asking him was from Wasit and he was their judge, or a judge there. وهذا, Shaykh Ubaid comments, وهذا يدل على عناية السلف الصالح بالعقيدة. This shows the focus and attention that the righteous Salaf gave to the issue of creed. وأنهم يكتبونها لمن سألهم. And that they would write their creed out for those who would ask for it. وقد تكون الكتابة مختصرة. And their writing, the creed, the book that they would write could be possibly short and concise. مثل هذه الرسالة, like this text that we're going to study. وقد تكون مطولة. And that could also be that they would write a more lengthy discussion or book on the topic. والمقصود أن السلف الصالح يعنون بالعقيدة عناية عظيمة. So what is intended here is that the Salaf, the righteous predecessors, used to focus on creed with a very heavy level of focus. لأنها هي أصل الدين وأساسه. Because the creed, it is the foundation of the religion and its structure that it's built upon, or its foundational structure. وهذا فيه رد على من يهون اليوم من شأن العقيدة. And this is a refutation against those people of today that underemphasize. They try to belittle the study of creed. They try to belittle the status of studying creed. وَالسَّلَفُ يَتَذَاكَرُونَ الْعَقِيدَةَ. Whilst the Salaf would be people who would come together to rehearse issues of creed amongst themselves. مشافهة ومكاتبة إلى غير ذلك من الوسائل. Either verbally, together, sitting and talking and rehearsing, or in writing, to the other different ways of recording and the ways and means that are known to review things. وَهَدَفُهُمْ شَيْئَانِ. And their goal in doing that was two basic matters. أَحَدُهُمَا أَنْ يَتَحَصَّنُوا بِالْعَقِيدَةِ الصَّحِيحَةِ. To protect themselves, to have a fortress surrounding them, literally, of the correct creed, to be protected through the correct creed. وَيُحَصِّنُوا مَنْ هُمْ فِي وِلَايَتِهِمْ مِنَ الْأَبْنَاءِ وَالْبَنَاتِ وَالْأَزْوَاجِ. And to also fortify and protect those with them, of sons and daughters and wives. وَكَذَلِكَ يَتَدَارَسُونَهَا مَعَ تَلَامِذَتِهِمْ. And likewise they would also review the creed, they would study the creed and review it with their students. So the first reason the Salaf would review Aqidah, creed, much, was this reason, to protect themselves and those under their care. وَالْأَمْرُ الثَّانِي. And the second reason, حِفْظُ الْقَوَاعِدِ وَالْأُصُولِ فِي الدِّينِ حَتَّى يَكُونَ عِنْدَ الْمُسْلِمِ حِصَانَةٌ إِذَا أُلْقِيَتْ شُبْهَةٌ. To preserve the foundations and the principles of the religion, so that a Muslim would have this fortress of defense. So when a doubt is spread, when someone throws out a point of confusion, when someone tries to lead the people astray, أو رفع أحد عقيرته بما يخالف السنة, or someone raises his voice to draw attention to himself in what opposes the sunnah. The aqira, really in Arabic, رفع العقيرة. Anyone know what that means, the Arab brothers? رفع العقيرة. It's a person who's had a leg severed. One of his legs has been severed. His aqira is his rijl. And so he lifts that severed leg up to show everyone and to draw attention to his situation, to gain pity and to cry out and say, look, and gain sympathy. So he mentions that like this is how the people of doubts and innovation are. They do anything to draw attention to themselves and distract the people, like raising up a severed leg so as to cry about it and draw the attention of the people to them. فإنهم من خلال ما حذقوه وأدركوه من أصول هذا الدين. So then they, meaning Ahl Sunnah, are prepared through that which they have mastered and that which they have learned and attained of the foundations of this deen. يردون على المخالفين. They're able to refute the opponents, those who oppose the correct creed. وَيُلْقِمُونَهُمْ حَجَرًا. Make them eat rocks, literally. And that means to silence them.
حفظ القواعد والأصول في الدين حتى يكون عند المسلم حصانة إذا ألقيت شبهة أو رفع أحد عقيرته بما يخالف السنة فإنهم من خلال ما حذقوه وأدركوه من أصول هذا الدين يردون على المخالفين ويلقمونهم حجرا ويحولون بينهم وبين الخواص والعوام.
ويلقمونهم حجرا. Make them eat rocks, literally. And that means to silence them, to shut them up with proofs and evidences. ويحولون بينهم وبين الخواص والعوام. And to come between them and the elite as well as the common people. Meaning to come and stand in defense of the correct creed between the doubts being spread that are aimed at the elite of the Muslims and the everyday Muslims. He comes from Ahl Sunnah and he stands and he defends the creed and the deen. Subhanallah. To understand and appreciate the legacy of the scholars of Al-Islam, we have to view them like this. We have to understand the reality of their jihad, the struggle of their lives, their battle that is between truth and falsehood. It is the jihad of al-qalam, the jihad of ad-da'wah. It is the struggle and the battleground of the pen and the book and the creed, the book and the sunnah. Not the battleground of the weapons and the military, but it's the battleground of refuting the opponent, subduing the enemy. The battleground of the hearts, which is more serious than the battleground of physical fighting and confrontation. So their jihad is the great jihad. Their jihad is the real jihad. As our brother read, Ya ayyuhan nabi, jahidil kuffara wal munafiqina waghluz alayhim. Allah Ta'ala orders His Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam to wage jihad against the kuffar and the munafiqeen, against the disbelievers and the hypocrites. What's the jihad against the hypocrites? Who knows the battle of jihad, the physical battle with weapons, where two armies met? One army is the Muslims and the other army is the munafiqeen, is the hypocrites. What battle was that? No battle. There was no battle between the Muslims and the hypocrites. But Allah ordered the messenger to wage jihad upon the hypocrites. So did he fail to uphold this order? Or did he fulfill it as he was commanded to, with the meaning that Allah intended? Meaning, clarify the truth, respond to their falsehood, warn against them, expose their traits, make the truth clear from falsehood, make iman, faith, clear from nifaq, from hypocrisy. Clarify the path of iman, the path of faith, from the path of hypocrisy. The end result of the path of faith being paradise. Clarify that from the end result of the path of the hypocrites, and so on. So al-bayan, the clarification, making the deen clear and refuting and responding to the false doubts of the people. That's the jihad that he did truly uphold, that he was ordered to uphold, and he did indeed uphold it. We have to know that the elite of the scholars, the very best of the scholars, those who are warriors and those who are scarred, those who take on the enemies of the sunnah and those who take on the mubtadi'ah and the innovators, they are slandered much. They are opposed by many. But Allah Ta'ala Himself defends them. And Allah Ta'ala raises them in levels. And Allah Ta'ala makes it that none on this earth can harm them. And Allah Ta'ala, through their efforts, He allows His deen to reach wherever it reaches. And we thank Allah Ta'ala for this favor. And this issue, understanding the rank of the scholars, that they are human beings whom Allah Ta'ala has favored like this, is very important for us. So we don't end up saying like some ignorant people say, you know, they're men and we're men. They have opinions, we have opinions. You know, so they say don't protest and don't demonstrate. You're going to destroy your land. We know better because we live here. Really, we know the situation here. So we'll protest and we'll vote and we'll get involved in rallies and demonstrate. We know it better. We know our land better. We're men and they're men. We have opinions and they have opinions. And this approach, country after country, has led to the destruction of so many Muslim societies. And we beg Allah Ta'ala for safety and refuge with Him. We have to understand the status of the scholars and appreciate them and love them and respect them and not say they're men and we are men. We've heard the narration of Abu ad-Darda, right? وَفَضْلُ الْعَالِمِ عَلَى الْعَابِدِ. And the status of a scholar over a worshipper, meaning over a regular Muslim, is كَفَضْلِ الْقَمَرِ عَلَى سَائِرِ الْكَوَاكِبِ. Like the status and the rank of the full moon over the rest of the stars in the sky. Compare the moon to any star. There's really no comparison. That's like the scholar over regular people who just worship and are not scholars. So we can't be duped by those people because that's a pathway of deviation. When we abandon our scholars and when we think that the scholars are just people like us and everybody has an opinion and there's no special status or rank that they hold, then we'll go astray. The doubts and the confusion that arises, we won't return those things back to the scholars so as to be safe from the trials of the innovators and their newest and latest methods and points of confusion. We have to know our scholars and we have to return to our scholars. Sheikh Ubaid, one of our scholars, Sheikh Ubaid ibn Abdullah al-Jabiri, he said, وَيُسْتَفَادُ أَيْضًا. What's also gained of benefit from this little story about how the Waasitiyyah creed came about is
أن طالب الإفادة يطلب الأكبر فالأكبر والأفضل فالأفضل.
أن طالب الإفادة يطلب الأكبر فالأكبر. The one who's seeking to benefit, he should seek the greatest benefit first, and then after that the second greatest benefit. He should seek out the greatest and most loftiest benefits first. وَالْأَفْضَلَ فَالْأَفْضَلِ, the greatest and most elder of the scholars, and the most virtuous and highest ranking of the scholars, and then those after them. وَلَا يَنْزِلُ إِلَى الْأَدْنَى مَا دَامَ بِإِمْكَانِهِ الْوُصُولُ إِلَى مَنْ هُوَ أَعْلَى مِنْهُ. And he doesn't go down to the lower ranks of lesser teachers and so on, so long as he has the ability to reach those who are higher in rank. Great benefit. The Qadi of Wasit, the judge of Wasit himself, being in a position to judge between the people, obviously knowledgeable and studied upon the Shafi'i madhab, he didn't suffice with what he knew. Rather, he sought out the greatest of the scholars of his time, Ahmad ibn Abd al-Halim ibn Taymiyyah rahimahullah. ثانيا, Shaykh Ubayd then says, secondly, another benefit gained from this incident is تواضع ذلكم القاضي, is the humility of that judge. فإنما هو فيه من المنصب لم يحل بينه وبين قصد شيخ الإسلام ابن تيمية. His status that he held, the position that he held as a judge, did not prevent him. It didn't come between him and his goal of seeking out Shaykh al-Islam ibn Taymiyyah. لِيَنْهَلَ مِنْ عِلْمِهِ, to drink from his great knowledge. وَمَا مَنَّ اللَّهُ بِهِ عَلَيْهِ مِنَ الْفَهْمِ فِي الدِّينِ كُلِّهِ عَامَّةً وَفِي أُصُولِهِ وَهُوَ الْاعْتِقَادُ خَاصَّةً, and to benefit from his understanding in the religion in a general way, and his understanding of the foundational matters, and that is the creed specifically. حتى حصل منه على هذه الرسالة التي انتفع بها المسلمون. So this humility led to him being able to gain from Shaykh al-Islam this creed that was written for him, that the Muslims have benefited from, meaning from that time. علماؤهم وعوامهم إلى اليوم, their scholars and their regular everyday people until this day, until today. فَجَازَ اللَّهُ ذَيْنِكُمُ الرَّجُلَيْنِ خَيْرًا. So may Allah reward these two men with goodness. These two men, meaning Radiyuddin al-Wasiti and Shaykh al-Islam ibn Taymiyyah. May Allah Ta'ala be gracious to both of them and reward them both. And from the best of our manners is when something good is done for us, something beneficial is done for us, some kindness is extended to us, then we say an easy phrase. And we don't have to get very fancy with our expressions, but we say, Jazakallahu khairan. May Allah reward you with good. As our Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, من صنع له معروفا فقال لصاحبه جزاك الله خيرا فقد أبلغ في الثناء. Whoever has had some kind, good thing done for him, and then he says to the one who did that for him, جزاك الله خيرا. May Allah reward you well, with goodness. Then he has done an exceedingly good job in thanking him or in praising him. Naam. So you see here Shaykh Ubayd appreciates the kindness and the good work that was extended between, or the good deed that took place, and Allah Ta'ala preserved its benefit throughout the ages until this time of ours, 700 years later. And so now we know what Al-Aqidah Al-Wasitiyyah is in general, or we know what it was intended to be. A creed that would be sufficient for a man to teach his family. That's the core of what it is. So how relative is that to us? Is there anyone who's not looking for that here? If so, you can be excused. But if you are a man who wishes to learn this creed so he can teach his wife and his children and his brothers in Islam, if Allah makes that easy for him, and to rehearse that in small circles and come together with his brothers, and a sister coming together with her sisters, so as to review important points of creed, then that's exactly what we've come together to do. We ask Allah Ta'ala for success. So this is a very suitable creed from its origin, that it was written for this purpose by one of the best of the scholars of Islam. So then we said we need to introduce the book and the author. So now let's introduce the author. The author, and I want you to know his name, Thumaniyan. And we say Thumani, that means 8 levels of names. When you say Ruba'i, you're going to name the person's name, his father's name, his grandfather's name, and his great-grandfather's name. 4 deep. All right, so we're going to go 8 deep with Ibn Taymiyyah. His name, who's heard it so far? Taqiyuddin is a nickname. Taqiyuddin is not something he would call himself. Taqiyuddin means the man of taqwa of the religion. It's only a name given to him by others. Just so you know, sometimes new Muslims accept Islam and they take these vainglorious names, right, that are in themselves tazkiyatun nafs. So, for example, An-Nawawi, what was he called? Muhyiddin, the reviver of the deen. You think he called himself Muhyiddin? I'm the one who's come to revive the deen? Never. In fact, he said, "Man nadani Muhyiddin fala aj'aluhu fi hil." Whoever calls me Muhyiddin, I will not forgive him. So we don't take these, names of lofty praise, like Taqiyuddin, ourselves. Rather, they are thrown on the people of virtue who deserve them, whether they like it or not, and it sticks to them. But it's not that they would refer to themselves like that. So he's Taqiyuddin as a nickname, the pious man of the religion, named that by those who know his rank and status and all of his virtues. His first name was Ahmad. His father's name, Abdul Halim. His grandfather's name, Abdul Salam. So we're going to say he's Ahmad ibn Abdul Halim ibn Abdul Salam. For those of you who have Sheikh Ubaid's explanation, look on page number 7. Ahmad ibn Abdul Halim ibn Abdul Salam ibn Abdullah. 4, that's 4 deep. Ibn Abil Qasim al-Khadir, the son of Al-Khadir, Abu al-Qasim. Ibn Muhammad, that's 6. Ibn al-Khadir, that's 7. Ibn Ali, if you wanted to go 9, Ibn Abdullah. And he's known as Ibn Taymiyyah, Al-Harrani. Al-Harrani means someone from Harran. Just like Al-Pittsburghi. Guess where he's from? He's from Pittsburgh. So Al-Harrani is from Harran. Anyone know where Harran is today? Modern day Turkey. Modern day Turkey. Tayyib. The reason why I want you to look at his name that far is that we're going to look at Muhammad ibn al-Khadir, who is his grandfather's grandfather, Muhammad ibn al-Khadir, his grandfather's grandfather. In our numbering, we made Muhammad ibn al-Khadir to be 6, and al-Khadir is 7. So Muhammad ibn al-Khadir. So Ibn Abdul Hadi is one of the students of Ibn Taymiyyah, who died in the year 744. He didn't live long after Ibn Taymiyyah, and in fact Ibn Abdul Hadi lived like 39 years. He didn't live a long life. I think he may have reached 40 or he was 39. So he was like born in 704, died in 744, like this. But a great scholar of hadith and fiqh. And he wrote a book of the life accounts and praise of Ibn Taymiyyah. And if you look on page number 13 of Sheikh Ubaid's explanation, it's the first source of biography mentioned. Al-intisaru fi dhikri ahwali qami' al-mubtadi'in wa akhir al-mujtahidin. Lil-Hafiz Ibn Abdul Hadi al-Maqdisi. In that biography, he said that the reason where this name comes from, how do we know, where did he get this name, Ibn Taymiyyah? Because we named his name, his father's and there was no Taymiyyah in there. So, where did Taymiyyah come from? You know, Ikram, a grandmother, a great-great-great-grandmother. Way up, not a grandmother, but someone far up. In fact, the mother of Muhammad ibn al-Khadir, who's his grandfather's grandfather, his mother, it's been said that her nickname was Taymiyyah, or that her name was Taymiyyah. Now, as Ibn Abdul Hadi said, أن جده محمدا كانت أمه تسمى تيمية وكانت واعظة. She was someone who would remind the women. She was a preacher among the women. فنسب إليها وعرف بها. So he was So he, meaning Muhammad ibn al-Khadr, the grandfather of Ibn Taymiyyah, became known as Ibn Taymiyyah. And so it's not just Ahmad ibn Abd al-Halim who's known as Ibn Taymiyyah. There's another famous Ibn Taymiyyah who some people asked me recently. They said, we found a biography of scholars out here and it said Ibn Taymiyyah, but the date of death was wrong and the name was wrong. But rather it was one of the grandfathers of Ibn Taymiyyah, Al-Majd, the direct grandfather. Abdus Salam, Al-Majd ibn Taymiyyah. So Abdus Salam, his grandfather, was a great scholar. He wrote the book Al-Muntaqa, or Muntaqa al-Akhbar. It's a book on the fiqh of hadith, written by the grandfather of Ibn Taymiyyah. There's a famous explanation of this book by a Shawkani, Nail al-Awtar, which is an explanation of Muntaqa al-Akhbar. So the grandfather of Ibn Taymiyyah was a great scholar. He was called Al-Majd ibn Taymiyyah. And Ibn Taymiyyah, our author, the author of Al-Waasitiyyah, who became more outstanding as a scholar, later, after everything was said and done, people recognized the scholarship of Ahmad ibn Abd al-Halim al-Hafid, the grandson. They recognized him on a higher level of mastery of the sciences, and he became known as, by many scholars, nicknames being applied to him, Shaykh al-Islam ala al-Itlaq, the great scholar of al-Islam in a general usage of the word. So Al-Majd was a great scholar, and he's also called Ibn Taymiyyah. And his father was also called Ibn Taymiyyah, and his grandfather's father was called Ibn Taymiyyah, and his grandfather's grandfather was called Ibn Taymiyyah. So it's like some kind of name for the whole family, not specific to Ahmad ibn Abd al-Halim. But when it's all said and done, when anyone says Ibn Taymiyyah said, then we are referring to Ahmad ibn Abd al-Halim ibn al-Majd, ibn Abd salam. And so Ibn Taymiyyah, a lot can be said, and this is not really a lecture about the life of Ibn Taymiyyah, but to know who Ibn Taymiyyah was is a lecture in and of itself, or a series of lectures. A man of jihad, a man of worship, a man of knowledge, a man of firm grounding, a man of patience and forbearance, a man of stern refutations of the innovators, a man who was jailed and slandered and fought against and boycotted, as many of the scholars throughout history were. A man who died in jail. A man who died in jail. Rahimahullah ta'ala rahmatan wasi'ah. He died in the year 728. And I intended to talk a little bit about some of his books and read a little bit of the Nuniyah of Ibn al-Qayyim about his books, but our gathering is not long enough for that this evening, so I apologize. I have on the desk here Minhaj as-Sunnah an-Nabawiyah. I'm going to talk a little bit about that book. But our goal in coming together is to keep our classes limited to about 30 minutes. And so we seek Allah's forgiveness, but I would like to just walk you through the workbook a little bit for a minute or two so you know the resource that you have with you. If you take a minute to flip through the majority of the pages, you'll see on the top of the pages a number. And that's your lesson number out of 100. There's actually 100 lessons, meaning we've divided the text into 100 little statements. Some of them, as you notice, are a little bit bigger and some of them are smaller. Yeah, and there is space for note-taking, obviously. Notice you have the Arabic of the text on every page, fully voweled, and you have the English translation right under it. You may have noticed some pages here and there have pictures of book covers on them. You'll see a book cover for a few of the explanations of the Waasitiyyah text, which are recommended if you are able to read in Arabic. Then you have Ibn Baz, his explanation is there. Ibn Uthaymeen, his explanation is there. Sheikh Ibn Baz, Sheikh Ibn Uthaymeen, Sheikh Ubaid, Sheikh Muhammad ibn Ibrahim might be in there as well. A number of recommended explanations are found throughout. In the back of the book as well, you will find a few helpful tools. The first thing you'll find all the way in the back is a manuscript. A manuscript of the text. So that manuscript is not an old manuscript. It's a little more than 100 years old. It's not an ancient manuscript. You can sort of, those who know manuscripts, they'll know that's not an ancient one. It's not worn away. It's a very good one, written really well. It's got some mistakes in Arabic grammar in it. However, the point is to provide you with some tools for memorizing and reviewing the Waasitiyyah text. So I'd advise you to study with us the meanings of the text and to try to memorize or at least become very well versed in the text by reading from the vowed Arabic text, which is another one of those appendixes. I think from page 154 going backwards because it's Arabic. 152, there's the Arabic text. So that's going to be easier for you to read. Then when you become really well versed in the text and your Arabic is good enough, you go into the manuscript and try to rely upon the manuscript. Then if you wish, that manuscript might become too easy for you to read. Then I'll give you a more difficult, older manuscript, inshaAllah ta'ala. Tayyib. Also, somewhere in there, someone can find the chain of transmission for the text. Appendix 2 on page 131. There's a one-page chain for the text from your teacher back to Ibn Taymiyyah. Yeah, that's in there for reference sake, to know the creed is connected from this masjid today and through these lessons back to the author of the book, Ibn Taymiyyah rahimahullah ta'ala. And then the first appendix is right after the 100 lessons. It's the English text uninterrupted. These are your resources. I hope you use them throughout the course whenever there's a need. Read the text from beginning to end before we start next week. Read the English one uninterrupted. Read the Arabic. If you're working on your Arabic, start getting versed in the Arabic reading of the text. You'll find on our Spreaker page where we upload these audios, you'll find there's already one file there. And it is the reading of the text in Arabic. So if you want like a coach to work with you, you've got your electronic coach there. Get that file, download it onto your phone or onto your computer or your device, and listen to it much, or cut it up into small segments. Listen to the first 3 minutes again and again until you are fairly well versed or you have memorized it. And from there, this will help you very much with your study of the text, in keeping it and remembering it. And may Allah Ta'ala grant all of us success. This is what we ask Allah Ta'ala for, success in studying this book. And we ask Allah Ta'ala for sincerity in all of our deeds, secret and open. Wallahu Ta'ala a'lam. Just before we close, we'd like to see if there's any concerns or corrections to errors made or questions about our first class this evening and its content. Born in Harran, yes. He had to move when he was about 6 years old to Dimishq because of the invasion of the Tatar. You mean like English explanations? There are some, but I'm not aware of the translators so as to recommend them or not. I don't know. Maybe somebody can look to what we have of English resources and see what is good of that, and we'll compile a list and try to make that available, insha'Allah ta'ala. Jazakallahu khairan. Al-Hamawiyyah was also written in a short time, I think after Asr or between Dhuhr and Asr. Another one of those short texts on creed. And our brother Al-Ustad Anwar Wright has done some focused work on that. He's translated the introduction and he has classes on that for those who are interested in that. هذا والله أعلم وصل اللهم وسلم وبارك على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك. One note about the books. This is for us here and everywhere else where you have a group of people with these workbooks. Write your name in the workbook on the first page somewhere clearly. Because some people keep their books in the masjids and they get mixed up with other people's books, and you find people losing track of the books. So make sure you put your name on the book clearly so it doesn't get mixed up with someone else's book. Barakallahu feekum.